My friends, welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heat Wave Wrestling Podcast brought to you by Mafia Sports Report. I'm always Dr. Love, and this, my friend, is my brother from another mother, Sauce Brunson.
What's happening, y'all? Listen, once again, just another week of two good boys, from Michigan, here to blabber on about some wrestling. So I'm excited for tonight. I guess you could say I'm extremely excited for tonight. So
yeah, no, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good show. Obviously we got a lot of information here. We got upcoming extreme rules show on Saturday. So we're going to be definitely going to a preview for that with all the matches and everything kind of going on with it. But I did want to go over one thing that happened over the weekend, which was, it was very sad to hear, but a pioneer in pro wrestling, Antonio Inoki, passed away on October 1st. So, and anybody that's a wrestling fan, they have heard the name, maybe not newer fans, but if it wasn't for this man, the whole idea of the strong style wrestling in Japan that's come over to America and everywhere else.
Nakamura for example.
A great example. It wouldn't have happened because this man, he really did revolutionize, in a sense, wrestling, and he had such a storied history. This is a man that he founded New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he only up until 2005 is when he sold his majority share in. So he had it for a long time, and he's done a lot in the politics in Japan. He was a lot of politics in that, where you don't see it that often. Where he was continuing doing that while doing the wrestling, while he was still found doing the stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Because I think the only other person. Obviously, Kane, he comes back every once in a while when he was mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. I know the big famous one was he was the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah, Jesse the Body Ventura.
But I think by that time, I don't think he was I think he was pretty much retired from wrestling at that point.
Yeah, he was pretty much done at that point. But there's a lot of people that kind of went into politics that were wrestling, but with Inoki, he continued, doing stuff with New Japan and going from there. So it's crazy to think that. And, he had so many crazy kind of things that happened, and actually about to go into it. Looks like on our note here from Papa Mafia. Yep. He absolutely did fight, for lack of a better term. Yes. Muhammad Ali in a very star-studded match. Again, if you want to call it that, but
on paper, it was a dream match. In reality, I've seen paint dry more exciting.
Well, yeah, basically with that match, they had specific rules set up for months, and then literally changed up some rules where Inoki could only, for example, he could only kick him when he was on the ground. He had one knee on the ground, so he could only. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't do that. Muhammad Ali only got 6 or 7 actual punches in, because let's be real, if he really was allowed to punch, he's going to flatten Inoki. A couple good hits there. But apparently, for the majority of the match, you had Inoki on his back, kicking him in the legs. For 15 rounds, by the way.
Yeah.
So just imagine, but that was, honestly, as a wrestling fan, it was more impressive what he did with Japan, and of all people, North Korea had a wrestling show for Wrestling for Peace show, 2-night event where it drew 160,000, 190,000 people. And the main event was Ric Flair versus Antonio Inoki.
Short hair Ric Flair, and the only time that they've ever wrestled. So, think about that now, it's insane. And there was a great episode of Dark Side of the Ring, not a sponsor, of course, but definitely everyone should check it out in general. It's a great show. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. YouTube or something like that, but you'll be able to find it. But with Inoki, though, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think, how much he did in wrestling. And, it's funny because if you look up clips with him, This man was whipping around Andre the Giant like it was nothing, you know.
Yep.
And he actually also technically won the WWF title from Bob Backlund. Beat him in a match. But WWF never recognized it, refused to recognize it. So they never said. So Bob Backlund never really lost the belt to him. And what's actually kind of crazy is on this past week, apparently Corey Graves mentioned something about it on SmackDown. You know, he mentions it like what planet is this happening? You know, McMahon's never letting that happen. Yep. So, but hey, different times. So, but hey, let's see what we got. Oh, yep, Papa Mafia, always good to hear from you. Yeah, if you think about what they did, it's kind of like what they did with Jake Paul is doing today, and now all these other former NFL players trying to box. Yeah, absolutely the same. You know, it's like we talked about with the celebrities and the sports stars doing wrestling. It makes money. You know, it makes money. McGregor fighting Mayweather. I mean, look at that. It was the second biggest boxing match of all time, only to Pacquiao Mayweather, and it was by a little bit. You know.
Hey, I mean, you also had, Mayweather versus Big Show.
Mayweather versus Big Show at WrestleMania. You know,
which we talked about in our celebrity podcast. When y'all get a chance to go check that out.
Yeah, it's real fun.
Oh, and just another thing, just let you know, Bob Backlund, if you come to Michigan, we acknowledge that you lost that belt.
Oh yeah, well, I'm going to acknowledge it.
Yeah, just let you know, Bob. Just let you know, Bob. I say you lost that belt. When you come to Michigan, we're gonna bring it up.
I think he's too busy trying to make Darren Young great again. Oh, I know. Sorry, I love bringing up random stuff here, right? That's what we do. We're good old boys that love our wrestling.
Yep.
But yeah, so a great storied career for Antonio Inoki. You know, rest in peace. Wrestling's lost a legend here.
Oh yeah, a couple other things that I want to bring up because they also call him they called him the pioneer of MMA.
Yes. Yep. And think about that too, because when he started doing the MMA type fighting, and then it grew into the different sports, and of course UFC. And UFC at the beginning was, it was all like the Wild West. The idea was anybody could fight in any kind of style, and they didn't care. It was very crazy. And then it wasn't only until a few years later that they decided to do the different weight classes, and it still wasn't that popular. It's not like it is now. It is insane how popular it is now and the money making on it. But they were almost going to go bankrupt. Only like 15 years ago. But everything changed when they started acting more like pro wrestling in how they sell the product and everything, and and the merchandise and the sponsorships and everything. So,
and just think, also because of Inoki, we got some of the best wrestling games we ever got, like in the 2000s.
Yep, absolutely. So, and speaking of how I mentioned he had the the majority share in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He sold it in 2005 to Yuke's video game company.
Yeah.
And Yuke's made several wrestling video games, including the upcoming AEW Fight Forever or Fight Forever. I can't remember the name. I think it's
the one with Phil. The one with Phil on the cover.
Yes, Phil looking all pouty and stuff.
which should be Kenny Omega, but that's a rare for another day. But, just saying.
I'll put a sticker on the box. Be like back sticker on it.
Yep.
But so yeah, again, rest in peace. And he's joining all the other wrestlers in the sky, and one hell of a battle royal. I'll tell you that for sure.
Shout out to Noki and whatnot. May rest in peace. But once again, man, Ric Flair, that man just keeps going. Everybody else, that man he's outlived. He damn near, I think, has outlived almost everybody he wrestled. So at this point.
Oh my God, absolutely. Oh gosh. Just please don't wrestle anymore. Again, I think we do this almost every week now. Please.
Oh yeah.
Just don't.
Maybe we should start a segment. They call it, like, instead of an Amber Alert, it's like Flair. I'll say Flair Wrestling Alert.
Woo, 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 woo. That's the alarm. Oh my gosh, please book it. We're doing. Oh, but yeah. So
I mean, so with that being said, kind of moving on now with the rest of our show, we do have again a pretty good card going into this Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And I mean, I'm a little surprised because comparing for the last few years, and especially last year's Extreme Rules, it's night and day, and obviously, we're going to kind of keep saying this until it doesn't happen much anymore, which, but Triple H, if it wasn't for, because, we actually have stipulation matches on all of them this year, like they should be. Unlike last year, that had one match that had a stipulation, and it was the main event. One match. Yep. So, I mean, why at that point would you even keep the name? Call it something else. Call it anything else. You own the rights for so many names. And, just don't call it Great Balls of Fire. Don't bring that back.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Please don't, and, I loved Halloween Havoc, but I'm glad they used it for NXT. So at least it was being used. So, so it's good seeing that change now, that we actually have some pretty good stipulation match, ones I haven't seen in a while, which we'll go over. Right. But it's going to be interesting. So, moving forward with that, with the preview, I do, the first match I'm going to put on here is the women's title match, Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey, and an Extreme Rules match. Basically, glorified, hardcore match. I guess is basically how it is now. It's going to be interesting because, by having that stipulation, they've already been having Liv Morgan do more aggressive fights and brawling in the past few weeks to get her set up for this. The fact that it's Extreme Rules, obviously you're going to get interference there. Shayna Baszler is coming in, so, whoever else is going to come in, and most likely either cost Ronda the belt, or she actually does win it. Because now with her gimmick, her heel gimmick, I want her to be champion now in a sense, because when she was a face and everyone hated her because she was trying too hard. But as a heel, she would be a great heel champion. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Sauce?
I guess now I kind of care about this match just a little bit, only because Ronda Rousey, the way they've been working with her now, that McMahon's not here, they let her be more herself now. I would say I'm looking forward to this match more than a little bit more now, but at the end of the day, the only reason why I'm really paying attention to this match now, because it's kind of a part of, the podcast, take notes and see, as far as going on.
Exactly.
But I mean, if the girls can just keep me entertained for like 12 minutes, I'm good. Bring out the weapons early. Just go ahead, just beat the crap out of each other, and I'm good. Now, as far as who I guess will win, who I got as my champion, the walking out, I guess at this point, because you're bringing a whole new different moveset, I mean, as far as new tools and movesets to Liv Morgan, you might as well just keep the belt on her for a little while. Maybe she learns a new submission in this match that she adds to her repertoire. I guess with this match, you kind of use this match for people like me to give a reason to care about Liv Morgan.
Yeah, and it's a good point because obviously the fans started turning on her a little bit.
Yeah.
Now that we're kind of going back with it's fans are fickle, just like any kind of fandom, but wrestling fans are very fickle. The internet wrestling community is insanely, toxic. So it's just have fun. Like they're trying and watching, there's no need to get so aggressive with some of these people. Like I might sit here and say, I don't like this wrestler, like they're doing with their character, but I'm not going to be like, I hate you personally. You're a terrible person. So,
you know why, Doc? It's because because you're more mature. And that's what it is.
Yeah, that's how as you are as well, and that's how we look at wrestling. We gotta look at both sides of it. But
if I like it, cool. If not, I'll keep moving, move on to the next thing.
That's it. Yeah, I think anything could happen with this. I see, like I said, either Shayna Baszler comes in, some interference there, because again, being Extreme Rules, doesn't matter what happens on it.
I think Ronda's going to lose with heavy interference, but not necessarily for Liv Morgan's sake. Like I could see almost Shayna Baszler or someone coming in and knocking her out, and she gets lucky to get the pin. Remember how we talked about before about her surviving to win? I could see it almost being something like that where.
And now watch she go over clean just because we brought it up.
Because we brought it up. Oh gosh.
But let's say Baszler does jump in, interfere and cause Ronda the match. Now, do we get Ronda versus Baszler now 1-on-1, or do we just get a triple threat for the belt now?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, because there's a lot of other women too that we got to think about. Like they've been putting Shotzi Blackheart a lot on TV matches as kind of the heel, as another kind of heel working there. I honestly wish they would change Raquel. I think Rodriguez. They have her go by now. I wish they'd change her into a heel. She's massive, and it's crazy. She would be so great as a heel,
Yeah, because like people like Liv Morgan, even Bailey, they were great wrestlers who you like to see smile. But Raquel, I know we're going a little bit off track, but Raquel, like she, she's built to be a monster heel.
Yeah, and we might see it soon, because right now she's kind of in the face group, the smiling face, one of my most hated wrestling tropes. I just like you're a face. Hi, unless you're Bo Dallas,
Hi,
do that.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and it's like, one example before we go on is Bobby Lashley. When they made him I called him Smiling Bobby. Hi, I'm gonna beat you up, and then that's it. And it was like,
that's another person who needs to turn heel again.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's had some great matches though, especially with the U.S. Championship, and so I'm happy about that.
Well, granted, I mean the crowd is buying what they sell as far as him being face, but me, I'm just like, yeah, well, all right, Bobby, just go ahead and do your thing. Just call me when you turn heel, okay? Just tweet me, text me, shoot me a snap when you turn heel.
So you're saying that's hurting the business, the wrestling business?
I see what you did there. That was an extreme pun tonight.
Extreme pun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there will be many.
And then probably just let y'all know I'm going to be using the word extreme quite a bit this evening, so just prepare.
Yes.
So y'all should extremely prepare.
Yep. Please. I'd be extremely happy if you would. But moving on, from with that match, the next match, which at first when I heard it, I didn't realize the stipulation, but then I do some research. But you have Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins in a fight pit match, which apparently in NXT, Matt Riddle fought in a fight pit match against Timothy Thatcher when he was there. Basically, a fight pit match is basically like a UFC octagon. In a sense, it's I think it's got different levels on it or something, but it's really just supposed to be because of how Matt Riddle has an MMA background. That was the reason why I think he originated the match. And Daniel Cormier is former UFC champion, is like the special referee, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a nice little cross promotion there. So.
That reminds me back in the day when what was it, Shamrock versus Steve Blackman? They had a little octagon match.
Yep. Yeah, and that was when UFC was like not doing good. So that's where you got those guys coming into WWF and crossing over and doing that kind of stuff. Now it's unheard of to see that, really, but seeing that now Daniel Cormier do it, it's pretty cool. And I think this match is gonna be pretty sweet. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, yeah, because back then when it came to UFC, the only time I saw UFC is when I was playing it on Dreamcast.
Nah, that's oh yeah. All right, wow, that's bringing me back now.
Yeah,
that's bringing me back.
Ultimate Fight Championship was literally what I think it was called, the game.
Yep.
And I want to say Tito Ortiz was on the cover. I could be wrong, but that's for another day. But as far as this match goes, listen, these two guys, great workers. You got Cormier in there, and I'm all for it. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of banter from Seth Rollins, because obviously this is out of his element, so he's going to do the great. He's definitely going to do probably a lot of the cowardly heel tactics and whatnot in this match.
Yep.
And whatnot. So slowing down any momentum that Matt Riddle could have. Being the heavy favorite as far as in his environment. So this is a match. Normal, like the last couple matches I had, I was looking forward towards the wrestling aspect of it. This one, I'm just looking at it more for the entertaining aspect.
Yep. And they've already put on some really good matches. So, I mean, let's give it up for, Seth Rollins this year. Look how many matches he's done, lost, but looked good in. Like he's done so well.
This man,
unselfish,
This man, like Steph Curry, this man has yet to miss so far.
and the drip, man, the drip is the best. He just
Listen, the drip never takes a backseat, even on his off day. I promise you. But with these two guys, I was like, if I had to bet, once again, y'all, don't go by our predictions. We don't want to see y'all at Greek Town Casino, get mad because y'all lost all your money.
Sauce and Doc said this. I can't believe it. I lost my money.
Hey, listen, we only responsible for us, okay? I can't be responsible for what you do at MGM.
Yep.
But if I had to put my money on somebody, I'll probably go Riddle because obviously, Rollins, he got the first one. He won the first one, at the Castle. So in the Octagon, I would definitely, my money probably be on Riddle. And then we get the rubber match and then go from there.
Yeah, I can see that because I can already now, because moving forward, they have the Crown Jewel show, but then they have Survivor Series, and they've already announced they're doing a War Games aspect for it. Do you think either one of those guys are going to be in that match?
Probably depends on what happens at Crown Jewel, because now that Triple H is in charge,
Crown Jewel might be watchable. Is that what you're saying?
Well, obviously, but it's gonna be interesting how he books it now. What does he do? How does he cater to the crowd over there?
Yeah,
this is gonna be really, really interesting because technically, the way I look at it, this is gonna be like us seeing an NXT takeover in Saudi Arabia. This is the way I'm looking at it. How he's gonna do it.
That's a good way to put it. But here we got Papa Mafia. If John Cena ever turned heel, do you think he'd get the same reaction as Hogan did in WCW? I wish they would have.
By far.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because when his height of his popularity and the idea if he had turned heel, it would have been monstrous. But money, merchandise, sales,
he still would have got that. I think what it is, the only thing that stopped him was the Make-A-Wish.
He'd make kids cry and then die.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
but I feel like because once again, I'm sure I might have said this on the podcast before, but the best time to have turned him heel would have been when it was when it was basically Team Cena versus Team Nexus at SummerSlam when Bret Hart was a part of that team.
Yep.
And he would have turned because it did come down to Cena and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And at that point, Bret Hart go for the tag. Cena, obviously doesn't get his tag, so he leaves Bret Hart out to dry. Obviously, what was left of Bret Hart's corpse. So at that point, Cena comes in, might stump him a few times, maybe put a soft little STF on him, and then at the same time beats up Bray Wyatt. Well, down the line beats up Bray Wyatt, becomes the leader of the Nexus, and bam, you got a new generation of NWO, but they all have an N on their chest without the WO. It's basically kind of like what they tried to do with Cena until they just scrapped all that because that only lasted for like a quick second. But yeah, if Cena would have turned heel, I think he would have did it with the Nexus. And you thought the NWO shirts was selling? Oh
yeah, those were the sold. I mean, massively sold. But you're right. It's more so the fact of how much he did work with the Make-A-Wish and his public persona. That's what would have killed it. And there was just no way they were going to do that. But it was really cool though to see at WrestleMania, like a few years ago when he fought Bray Wyatt in that cinematic match.
Yep.
And he came out at one, and he was in the NWO shirt.
And we were just like, what's going on? Like, it was the coolest thing to see, you know, like what's going on right now, you know? That's the closest we're ever going to get to him turning heel, besides him when he was a heel at first. So with his word life gimmick, but yeah, I mean just imagine seeing that. Oh, they would have been so hot. See that? Oh my God, yeah, that's good though.
All I can say is here's what I'll say. I can't prove the science on this, but if Barry Sanders would have never retired for the NFL, we would have got seen as heel. I can't put the science together. I can't call it how it works, but just trust me.
Yep, there we go. Yes, it works. Science. Trust me. I got scientists on it. They're already got the equations. I don't get it, but that's the equation that works.
As long as they put in extreme effort, I'm there for it.
Absolutely. There we go. I need a little buzzer or a bell every time we do it.
Don't worry. It's gonna be a future episode where we're gonna use a word and just do it together. But with that being said, Doc, what else you got for us?
That's so. Moving forward for the preview for it, we have a match that I haven't seen in a long time. It's going to be interesting, the exact stipulation for it, but it's Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a strap match. And a few things about this I like. I love Killer Kross. Then when he came to WWE, is Karrion Kross. And with Scarlett Bordeaux, and he was so great in NXT. For obvious reasons we talked about, and then they just this is my hands when they came to he comes up to the main roster.
They dropped the ball.
He comes up to the main roster, no Scarlett. They make him look like a Mad Max reject, and then he loses his opening match to Jeff Hardy clean. I mean, right there is just like you wanted him to fail.
And then they turn him into like a He-Man villain with that stupid mask on his face, and
yeah. So then, he leaves. He had to control his narrative for a little bit, apparently. So, but Triple H comes in. Hey, I'm back, which was a huge surprise. And I like what they started doing, throwing him in. The little mix with McIntyre and Roman Reigns. To get him up there, right in the the world title area. Is in a sense.
Basically, the upper card area.
Yep, and
I guess you would say he was extremely excited to hear that phone call.
He was extremely excited. He really was.
Papa H called him. Told him, hey, why don't you come back to work?
Yep. It's crazy too because when Karrion Kross lost that first match to former Team Extreme member Jeff Hardy, it really
Team
just
Extreme.
Yep. He just killed anything he had going for him. So and when he left, I totally understood. Now he's back. Just keep him doing what he's doing now. Just keep him on the top there. That's why this match here is going to be interesting because there's, again, two different ways a strap match can work. They could either do it to where, one hand strapped, the other guy's got a strap tied to his hand. So the idea is they use the strap to fight. You're going to see a lot of, choking them out or wrapping them in the ropes or stuff like that. But if they do it to where a traditional strap match is where you have to incapacitate the wrestler, the other guy, and you're supposed to tag all four ring posts, and then the match technically is supposed to be over. They're either going to go that route, or they're just going to make it a match where you can pin and submit but you're attached with the strap. They'll probably make an announcement before. They'll probably have a little thing on the screen that says how to actually you win. Either way, I really hope Karrion Kross wins. But it could go either way on it. Yeah,
I think it's a good point win for him, but really because even if he wins, it doesn't hurt Drew at all. If anything, it makes them. It turns this into basically a best of three. They fight now, then they fight in Saudi Arabia, and then they probably get thrown in they get thrown on opposite teams on a Survivor Series match and see where it goes from there. I think this is definitely a good feud for both because one, it gives somebody good for Karrion Kross, and then two, it gives Drew McIntyre something to do.
Yes, because you know, after he lost his match to Roman Reigns, obviously, you know, it kind of deflates him, deflates his push, but keeping him up there in that, like it's the top feuds going on, that's a good thing. So if Karrion Kross, if someone's winning in some kind of fashion, like whether he's, you know, choking him out and he chokes him with the strap and he, you know, passes out or something like that. Because you got to think, depending on how long the strap is, it's hard for him to get like his moves off, like his the Claymore. He's got to get a good running start for it. So if it's too short, he really can't do that kind of move. But it just depends. They could have a really long strap, you know, that's like turnbuckle to turnbuckle.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's been a while since I saw one, but for the most part, usually your straps at least they're having so they can go corner to corner.
Yeah.
So,
and what's crazy is I've seen some good matches, and I just had to bring this up because I know Papa Mafia will laugh about this, but after watching WCW for years, there was one match, and it was the apple pie strap match with Hulk Hogan, and it was a train wreck because Hulk Hogan. Now, mind you, what I just told you about, where you have to tag all the turnbuckles, you win. So he goes, does this, whatever, touches all 4 turnbuckles, ring the bell. He continues to wrestle, does a leg drop, and the referee inexplicably pins him again. And the bell rings again and declares him the winner. Because he had to make sure he did his finisher, even though technically he didn't have to. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, my God. So
the last match I seen, when it was the 4 turnbuckles, I want to say it was a SmackDown match, and it was Bradshaw versus Batista. I can't remember for the life of me. I don't think it was for the belt because I remember Batista winning that match. So, but I remember like how they, you know, it was like whoever did that match, like however they booked it, it was the ending was great because basically Batista was carrying JBL on his back, so when JBL hit the corner, JBL would hit the corner. So they was going all 3.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, he won because he technically he tagged them all.
Well, he almost won, but because Batista, he'll hit his 3. Then Bradshaw was behind him as well. And then Bradshaw tried to go to the 4th one. Batista, pulled the strap and stopped him. Batista bomb hit the thing, and and won. So it's gonna be interesting to see which way they go. I mean, if they're going to do it traditionally or they're going to go 4 corners. But I would say my money is definitely on Karrion Kross. Him winning, it doesn't hurt Drew. If anything, it helps both guys. It keeps Kross's momentum going. It gives Drew, once again, something to do at this point. Instead of, he's chasing for Drew will be chasing for a revenge match and to get that revenge pin. So
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And what's funny, you mentioned JBL. He actually had a similar match with Eddie Guerrero, and that's how he won the WWE title.
Yeah,
it was the cowbell like strap match or whatnot. Yeah, that's how he won that match. I remember it was sad to see Eddie Guerrero lose the belt, but JBL, I love JBL as champion. Yeah, so it should be a fun match. Again, they're going to be a lot of throwing over the rope, where he's choking him out, running, he's grabbing him back.
There's going to be a lot of chokes.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah. More chokes than the Lions usually on Sundays. Sorry, Sauce. Sorry.
Hey, listen, my football team extremely sucks. So.
Oh gosh.
I went to that game and watched them lose in extreme fashion too.
You did.
And then I had an extreme 20-minute walk back to my car, and I extremely dropped off both my brother and dad, and extremely went home, and extremely forgot all about it. Hey, as I drowned myself in six twisted teas. So
there you go. You got, hey, those are loaded weapons there. Gotta be careful.
They was extremely loaded too when I was pounding them.
Oh my gosh. But so moving on from that match, we have our
the next match, which is the women's championship, the Raw Women's Championship for Bianca Belair versus Bayley in a ladder match. So finally, this has come to a head. With Bayley, returning at SummerSlam, doing a good job with her Damage Control group, doing their good heel work back, and they built this up to this good match. Now, with that being said, ladder matches to me are always the hit or the miss. There really is no in between with them. And sometimes with a ladder match, it can be over choreographed, over complicated, and then it turns into more, it just turns into a mess. And people can get hurt that way. This is only 2 people in the match, unless Damage Control comes out and our Asuka and Alexa Bliss come, something like that. But when you have a match with a ladder match and try to make it too complicated, I just worry about them doing too much, and then you risk injury, especially with Bayley coming back from injury. So I don't know. I hope it's going to be a good match. I really do, but I think I don't know. I think Bayley's going to win. I think she's actually going to beat Bianca Belair. Whether she has help from the girls or whatnot. I just want them to be safe. Still do like what you want to do on your moves and everything, but like I can already see probably you're going to see like climb up the ladder and you're going to see her doing like a Bayley the belly to one of them maybe. I don't know. Like you can see him climbing up and then she comes up behind her and then she kind of like not all the way to the top, but like maybe halfway up the top and then like grab her and then she slams her on the ground because that move is not as high risk compared to some other ones.
Oh yeah.
But you're not going to get something like Sasha Banks and Bayley ladder match in NXT. You're not going to get that because that was like, almost a 4.5 star match. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm happy that they picked a different stipulation like that. Because we haven't usually see ladder matches at TLC sometimes, or just in kind of a random. Intercontinental Championship or something like that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, though, Sauce?
I think it's going to be a pretty solid match. But I will say one thing about Bianca, because I know you said you worry about the women's safety. I mean, as far as, worry about somebody getting hurt. But I will say one thing about Bianca. She's definitely one of those where, obviously, I'm sure everybody who gets in the ring with her, they definitely trust her. As far, especially with her moveset, she works. Like I said, Bianca, to me, she's basically a female version of Cesaro as far as the way, she does a lot of power moves and whatnot. So there's definitely going to be it's going to be a car crash. Bianca, and her, they're going to be, slaying each other against ladders, doing all types of crazy stuff. But I feel like, if I had to put my money on who's going to win, actually, I want to say Bianca, but I know the way they'll book it is the only problem is I want to say Bianca, but the only thing is how would you book? Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna say, this is how I say it. I'm gonna say Bianca because once again, her strong moveset. I'm sure there'll be a spot where she can throw out both of the Damage Control, both of the members, do something crazy like that, have like a moment, and then somehow she still is victorious, which will make the feud go a little bit further, with Bayley and her cronies, chasing for the title. So right now, I'm gonna say my money's on Belair, and she's gonna come with some crazy spot to basically get Damage Control out of the mix.
Okay. Hey, I can see that. Just to get them out of the match and then they're gone so then they can have their match by themselves,
Yeah.
But now, do you think we're going to get some ladder stacking? Some kind of like how they usually do in some ladder matches where they're trying to like bring in 2 ladders, 3 ladders to set up some ridiculous spot.
I can see that. I can see that only because, once again, how strong Bianca is. Because when I see her, I see Cesaro.
Yeah.
So I definitely, that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And just trade back a little bit with the Karrion Cross and McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm looking at that. Right now, that's probably the most match I'm looking forward to the most for the evening. So,
yeah, yeah, I would say so as well. Yeah, I probably would say so as well. There was we have a couple more matches here, but yeah, I'd probably say that would be the way they can do the storyline, do it the back and forth wrestling for it. I think that would be good because it's gonna get, especially if the crowd's into it. So honestly, I almost wish that was the first match of the night, maybe, get the crowd hot, for it. But it really depends.
I don't know. I will, it would be cool too, but I don't know. I just find it hard for a strap match to be, the goats, the beginning. I would say the crowd opener. I don't know. For some reason, I just see I don't know. I always think when it comes to booking, either you usually have a strap match as the main event, or it's the middle of the card type of match.
Yeah.
But
hey, there, and that easily could be. That could easily happen. And
I do have an opening match. I do have a prediction for the match opener, but I'll wait till we get there.
Oh, okay.
But as far as but like I said, as far as the ladder match, my money is on Bianca, and I'm expecting a car wreck. And yeah,
an extremely bad car wreck or extremely good car
extremely
wreck.
Bad. And like I said, I just see Bailey somehow. Bianca overcomes the odds, and now it's once again Bailey and her little cronies, they got to come up with a new plan to get this belt off of Bianca.
Yeah.
Damn it, foiled again.
Foiled. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bailey. I'm gonna say she actually wins the belt, and you're gonna see a rematch at Survivor Series for it.
You don't think Crown Jewel?
Well, they definitely were going to get a women's match on there, because obviously they did last year, or they had, and maybe, it could be at Crown Jewel to kind of hype that up too. So yeah, I can see it there.
Actually, you know what I was thinking? You might be right. Well, I would say you might be right for your first hunch, where they could do the rematch of Survivor Series, because I think if they have any woman fight in Saudi Arabia, I can see them doing Rousey over the other ones, because how much of an attraction she is.
Yep. So, yeah, I can see that, and especially if she wins the title, then she does a match. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They could do a rematch there for it. So. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's our ideas. Make it happen. Don't make it happen. It's all good.
Listen, Papa H, we give you gold. Okay, just take it around with it.
There we go. But so kind of going on now. We have this one I'm hyped for, but I don't know how. I don't really think you're going to be. But the I Quit match with Edge versus Finn Balor. So, I like Finn Balor, and I really am happy that he's getting pushed. He apparently, from reports being read, he's going to be pushed even more, especially because of Triple H being in charge.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about that. I'm still just not into the Judgment Day thing. I love Rhea Ripley. I love how they're kind of well, Finn Balor's the leader and stuff. I'm like, you mean Rhea Ripley's the leader? When she, all these promos she does, I'm like, she clearly is the leader. If you watch the show, if you watch Raw, but I think the whole thing with that, and they're obviously setting up for a really good feud with Finn Balor and AJ Styles, which is you're talking about two former members of the Bullet Club, just love tear the house down.
I'm ready to watch two men slap some small sweaty meats in that square circle together. I'm just ready for it. Yeah, they're gonna put on a clinic.
Yeah, give me a 2 out of 3 falls match or something. That'd be sweet, or anything like that. That would have been that would have been actually cool as a stipulation. That would have been a nice one too, but we're gonna save that for another pay-per-view, I think.
Actually, with this match, because I don't have to look at Rey Mysterio and Dominic wrestling, so actually, So Edge and Finn Balor, like on my excitement scale, I mean it's about a medium, but these two, we got these two veterans. They're definitely gonna put on the show for us, and I'm just looking not really from a wrestling standpoint. I'm looking to see what they're gonna do as a creative standpoint.
Yeah,
So
because
that's what I'm.
well, remember Edge had that great I Quit match with Randy Orton. If I believe that was an I Quit match, if I remember, and that was good. That was a really good, but that was him coming back from injury, coming back, and it was a super hyped match. But obviously, you can see he can do a pretty good I Quit match. So I think you're going to see a lot of different type moves going on here.
I would like to see aggressive Finn Balor in this match. I want to see him, kind of go more strong style in this with Edge. Obviously, he's a good worker, so he's not going to intentionally put Edge health at risk. Even with a strong moveset, as long as we don't see no buckle bombs, I'm good.
I know. If Finn Balor sees a buckle bomb, like he's scared. I don't blame him, but oh my god.
But it's fine. But go ahead, Doc. I mean, your thoughts as far as the match.
Yeah, well, kind of look. I Quit matches can be good, because if in that sense you're doing I Quit match, you're doing your submissions, you're kind of forcing them, you're doing other stuff to like make them tap, make them I Quit. That's the point. Now I had an example, a bad example. Because I've watched a lot of wrestling, is in TNA or Impact Wrestling. About, I want to say probably 2015, might have been 16, could have been 14, around that time. There was a match, and it was Gunner versus Bram. Okay, now these are basically two guys that look just like Aleister Black or around that kind of look. Baron Corbin when he first was NXT. These two guys lumbered around. Brought a bunch of weapons in the ring.
Yeah.
At one point, Bram or Gunner did a back body drop to one of the other guys. Just like, traditional back body drop. He's on the ground. He tells the ref, ask him, like, to quit? He's just laying there. You're not doing anything. Like, he just back body dropped, laid him out, he was on the ground. He asked the ref to ask him if he wanted to quit. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't like choking him out with his foot, with his arm. No, he just asked him. And me and my brother, to this day, just laugh every time. We always yell, ask him, because it was so ludicrous. Like, it was extremely ludicrous to think about that, and I just hope there's nothing like that,
Mm-hmm.
The only way that would be acceptable is if, like, Finn Balor does like a coup de grace. He has a chair on him and does a coup de grace on top of that, and then he's got knocked out, and then be like, get in his face with it and do it. Not just a random traditional basic wrestling move, and then hey, ask it.
I think because I remember watching a couple I Quit matches in my lifetime where the winner of the match, I should say the loser of the match didn't even say I quit. Like, they just passed out. They just couldn't. They wasn't able to perform no more.
Yeah.
So that's the type of ending I like to see here. Because for some reason, like, obviously I get, I see Finn, winning this match. But I don't know, just see Edge say the words I quit. I don't know, especially the way that this feud is going and whatnot. Edge is more of an attraction now. I don't know. It'd just be weird to see if he loses. I'd rather. Booking wise, it make more sense to just have him be incapacitated versus him just saying I quit.
No, I like that idea, and I can already see how it most likely is going to be booked. We're going to have this good match back and forth. The AJ Styles causes Finn Balor to lose the match, and that's going to be a perfect way for him, because they already got the upper hand on him the past couple weeks.
Okay.
And so AJ Styles does whatever he does, the calf crusher, or he does the Styles clash. The flying forearm most likely is what makes sense. Like, I can see him doing a flying forearm, and then he does a spear, like he's still standing, spears him, and then he gets him in like one of his choking, crossface or whatever he would do to choke him out. I don't know. That's how I could see it going down.
and it would just set up perfectly for that Finn Balor and AJ Styles feud. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean,
I dig what you're selling. So, but overall, like I think with this match, like I'm looking forward to this match more than I did with their tag match back in back at the castle.
Yeah, because again, with Rey Mysterio and Dominic, hey Dominic, how's it going?
I mean, I just want to give a quick shout out to Rey Mysterio. I mean, since COVID, since the since he came, since COVID thing, happened when he came back. I mean, it's probably been his best runs. I mean, best run as far as just being on TV and performing.
Well, yeah, I mean, wrestling basically full time.
Yeah,
like he came back and it was like and he's been wrestling since he's been 15 years old. And it tolls on his body. His knees are busted up. He's still just going out there doing, like you said, entertaining.
I would say this has probably been his best run just far as a worker, probably since he first got to WWE.
Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. I would. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's entertaining to watch. He's always has been. When he first debuted in WWE on SmackDown, man, I mean that was, again, think about this. Like that was another WCW guy that if he debuted the Invasion, it would have worked good, but a lot of those guys were still getting Turner money, so there was no reason for him to come in. But that's going to be for another episode. Yeah. But yeah, just seeing him now, it's crazy how much he still is able to do and good at it. So hats off to Mr. Mysterio. Yep. But so moving on with the pay-per-view, you have the match. This match that was just added to the show last week, and it's the first off, before we get into this match, I do want to go. We'll dial it back to SmackDown this week, the day before the Extreme Rules show. So they do this thing now where they've done it for a few years, where they refer to it like the season premiere of SmackDown and Raw, even though it never stops, But being on Fox, of course, they like to have it saying that. But the advertising, which most likely will be the main event of the show. If it's not, I'd be shocked. But the rematch of Gunther versus my fiance's favorite wrestler, Sheamus.
That's right. Holly's number one wrestler.
So this was announced, and I know it sounds odd to have it the day before the show, and people are like, why not have it at Extreme Rules? You know why? Because being on TV like that's going to give those that viewership's going to be boosted up on the show. Oh, yeah. And, this is the rematch we wanted. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because if Sheamus ends up winning in this rematch and winning the title, I wouldn't be mad. Just, I hope it's, okay, we both agreed that was like a 5-star match, basically. At Classic.
That was my match. That was my match of the weekend.
Oh yeah, it was great. So if it's even like half that good on TV, that's a winner right there. Especially on SmackDown. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I'm very hyped for this match. Very hyped because it's a feud. It's a good feud that's going to keep on pushing forward. And it's, like I said, it's the day before Extreme Rules. But that's why I believe they made this match, where it's the Brawling Brutes with Ridge Holland, Butch, and Sheamus versus Imperium. Gunther, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci. So I'm sorry, and it's a Donnybrook match, good old fashioned Donnybrook match. Yep, and it's like, so is it kind of like when the APA had like their barroom brawl match? Remember that, where they had they had the thing look like the bar and everything.
Oh no, or they would do it, or they would literally do it at Tim White's bar.
Oh my gosh, yep. So in my head, I'm just like picturing that, and I'm not gonna lie. You know how cool it would be if it wasn't a match there, but it was like you said, it was actually filmed at like a bar, or like it's set up to look like a bar somewhere. Yeah. And then that's how the match would be. Yeah, that would. I wish that would happen, but no, it'll be probably a real match there. And on paper, that's just going to be like a lot of brawling and fighting. Might not be that long of a match, but the fact of the matter is, with the day before the winner of that match, you're going to have a lot of heat going into that match. A lot of if Sheamus won the belt, they're going to be pissed off and going more fighting them. Gunther retains the title. It's basically the same thing. You're fighting against it. So a little odd choice to do that, but I'm all for it. I'm all for, hyping up, the season premiere of the show with a really big match,
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like I said, a long time ago. Not every great match needs to be on pay-per-view.
Nope.
Sometimes on the Raw, SmackDown, Impact, or Dynamite or Rampage. Sometimes you need to have a big start. You need to have those like big marquee matches on your regular shows too, because the whole point of the show is to get people to watch, give people a reason to watch.
Yeah.
So, which I'm all for it. And once again, it's not even for the main belt. It's for the mid card belt.
Yep. For the Intercontinental Championship, which their mid-card belts right now, they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, the U.S. champion, Bobby Lashley, has defended that belt every week. And it reminds me of, again, John Cena when he was doing the U.S. belt challenge, and Bobby Lashley's having great matches with all these people. He just had one on Raw against Mustafa Ali where what you just said, he actually choked him out and he passed out. He didn't tap out. They passed out and he lost the match. And it's kind of funny you had just said that, but that's how, and that's a different way. Bobby Lashley he does more power moves and beat you. But he did it that way against Mustafa Ali, again, on TV, working, after having all the problems he had back months ago.
Yep.
But,
I would say if there was any match that I would have start off, I would definitely, if I'm booking this, if you're going to have the match at an actual ring, then I'm doing the Donnybrook match first. Because you think about it. So basically Friday, you get the Intercontinental match between the two leaders of their respective groups. Mm-hmm. Then you carry that over to the first match, basically the next, the first match of the pay-per-view. And it's like they pick up right where they left off.
I'm not going to lie. Do you know how funny it would be? Now, obviously, it's not in the same arena, but how funny would it be if they just had Sheamus and Gunther at the end of their match get up and stand and stare off. And then the first thing you see at the pay-per-view is them still in the ring staring at each other.
Listen,
how funny that would be? I mean,
if it was the Thunderdome, they could definitely pull that off. They can definitely pull that off.
Oh my gosh. Because that was they're just like they come back up. They're still here. They're still squaring off each other.
Right. But if I'm booking this, I'm putting the Donnybrook first, pick up where you left off Friday night.
Yeah.
All right. And then my most for the match I'm looking to the most is probably McIntyre versus Cross.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Depending on how the Balor and Edge match goes, that could be show stealer. But honestly, I believe it's the same thing with you. I'm still edged more, no pun intended, to McIntyre and Karrion Kross. But
are you extremely edged over there, or just
maybe just regular? Okay. Nah, extremely. No, I know. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty good show. And for traditionally over the past few years, a very boring or meaningless show with no, they've actually made it into something that's like you want to watch. That's going to be something that, I got to watch this or catch it as soon as possible. So. Yeah, and my hat's off to them, because we're going to see more of these smaller shows, because WWE has their big shows, the big four, and then their
overseas shows and everything. But then you have all those other little shows. Not in Money in the Bank, I'll count it's like the big five. I'll refer to Money in the Bank and add this honorary fifth, like big pay-per-view.
Okay.
But yeah, like ever since they started doing all the pay-per-view names based off of what the match is, you know, like it made no sense. Like my biggest gripe about it was this day one pay-per-view that they did this year. You know, first day of the year, pay-per-view. Cool. So you already had a pay-per-view name that would have worked perfect for that, and you had it for a few years, and it was New Year's Revolution.
Yep.
I don't get it. Just do it the same day and use the name New Year's Revolution. Like what's going on? I don't.
Dear Papa H, if you are listening, please just we'll give you free gold here. Change that. Just change the name back.
Change it because it's the same purpose. It's literally saying New Year's. I don't know. That's crazy. You know, because for a few years, you know, Elimination Chamber, for example, was at it was at Survivor Series originally, and then when they would move it, then New Year's Revolution ended up again. No Way Out got it. New Year's Revolution got it as well.
Yeah, he got it for a minute, but then it became a mainstay in No Way Out, and then they just changed it to
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
like the name. Yeah, and that was like the start of it. You know, you had that. Then you had TLC, which TLC was always annoying to me because you know the TLC match was such a iconic new match that was made, but you never I would love to see a real TLC match now with, you have the Usos in there, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I don't know, so many people, and they have a great match. But the TLC pay-per-view, you'll have like a chairs match. Like what do you mean a chair? Or a tables match, which again, my fiance's favorite wrestler, Sheamus, won the WWE Championship from John Cena in a tables match because all he did was just push John Cena off the turnbuckle and he fell through the table. Sheamus didn't even put him through the table. He just pushed him and he fell and broke it and he won.
I will never forget how shocked I was when that happened. I was like, I stopped. I was like, holy crap. I said, Sheamus is now champion. Like, did this really, really just happen?
I know. Oh my God. I was extremely surprised about it. That's all I gotta say. So
was it regular surprise?
No, extremely surprised.
Gotcha.
But you know what I'm saying? So you have these I get it. It's tables, ladders, and chairs. So then there's gonna be a ladder match. But then they rarely ever would have like a TLC match.
Right.
And that's still a pay-per-view they use to this day. It's like, come on.
So it's gonna be interesting. Actually, it's gonna be interesting now that Papa H has took it over. Is he going to continue the McMahon formula of all these gimmick pay-per-views, or is he going to start kind of keeping some as some as gimmick and then or some as more traditional?
Yeah,
that's like when he did takeovers. I mean you had War Games.
Yep, In Your House. They brought back the In Your House moniker.
I'm just thinking about pay-per-views as far as with the gimmick matches.
Gotcha.
The War Games. I think that was really off the top of my head. I want to say that was the only one that the pay-per-view was basically was built around the match itself.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, in the future, are we going to get more? Are we going to get
World War III? World War III with the triple rings.
Right. I wonder, are we gonna see more Hell in a Cell pay-per-views and just leave Hell in a Cell as an attraction match instead? Or are we gonna are we gonna still see TLCs later down the line, or is that gonna be or is that gonna eventually be maybe a part of Money in the Bank since it's all ladders?
Oh yeah, and that's something to think. That's something. Well, you made a good point. You were talking about Hell in a Cell, that was another one. You don't have to have a pay-per-view for Hell in a Cell because one year, one, they had the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but the same year they had a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. It was Undertaker, Shane McMahon, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was in the same year you already had a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, you know? So it's like, okay, you know, years ago when Money in the Bank would be at WrestleMania, that was honestly one of my favorite parts of WrestleMania was the Money in the Bank match.
Because it was like the opener.
Yep, and it got the crowd hot for it, and it was, you know, but then it's like I can see a little bit why they did that as its own pay-per-view because it started getting kind of big. But I still loved it being at WrestleMania, you know, because they highlighted that chance to get a world title shot at WrestleMania, and at that point you had a year, you know, you were 1 year exactly the way to get it. So, yeah, I miss that, you know, and like you said before, like Hell in a Cell, you know, when you see a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, there's 2, maybe 3 matches on the card that are Hell in a Cell, and the rest are like, so we're just a regular match at a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell. Okay.
And speaking of comparisons, I just want to do a quick rundown of like comparing McMahon's matches last year to the matches we got this year. So I'm gonna make this really, really quick. So I'm looking at last year, Universal Championship, Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, which spoiler alert, that was the only like Extreme Rules match that was on the card. That
was the only one on the whole card.
The only one. Now, obviously, we're not going to have a championship match now because, you know, apparently we didn't acknowledge Roman enough to get one at this pay-per-view. So, but it is what it is. But then you look at the SmackDown Women's Championship last year, Becky Lynch versus who had the champ? Becky Lynch was the champ versus Bianca. Now it's once again like it's the Extreme Rules match with Morgan and Ronda Rousey. Then you can go to, you know, United States Championship last year, Priest, Sheamus, Holly's favorite wrestler, and Jeff Hardy. And then obviously they don't really have a mid-card belt as far as on the card this for this weekend, but the closest you're going to get is, you know, the one for SmackDown, but then you got the Fight Pit match. Instead, I guess you can kind of like substitute for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what the Vegas over under is that Seth's going to try to buckle bomb Matt Riddle in that octagon or wherever the hell he's fighting.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's going to be a good odds on that.
and then last year you had the Usos versus the Profits. They've been fighting for a while.
Gosh, they have, haven't they?
The Usos was the champions in this match last year.
Yep.
And
I believe that they were champs. I mean, they've held on to those belts for a long time. So
yeah. And then it was just a regular tag match. Versus this year, we can, you know, we're basically going to have a tag match, but it's basically going to be a tornado. It's basically going to be a glorified tornado hardcore match.
Yep.
And then I was looking at the card. Apparently last year Liv Morgan and Carmelo just started there.
Yeah, when I was reading that, I was like, oh gosh. And again, none of these had stipulations except for the main event. Like at a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules, it just makes no sense. And at that point, I don't even want to watch it. You know, like seeing Finn Balor for the title, that was nice, and he was Demon Finn Balor as well. But it was like you knew he wasn't going to win, you know. And
or as I call him my boy, I call him Blackface Balor.
Oh my god! Oh Lord! Oh Lord! Yeah, it's staggering to think about how different it is now with these matches and who's getting pushed and storylines being pushed and wrestlers being utilized, and it's great. It's great to see that, and I you know. And something actually, it's a little off topic, but it kind of goes in the same vein about wrestlers wanting to work with Triple H and wanting to come back. I just read this on online in the wrestling forums. Apparently, on Twitter, there's a huge beef now with Sammy Guevara and Andrade. You read this? Yep.
Yeah.
I can't really repeat what he said. Needless to say, it was something else.
He called him a few bad words, and And I'm thinking the first thing I thought about myself was I was like, is this Andrade's way of basically getting himself out of AEW?
Ah, that's a good point. Because again, Triple H loved Andrade. Because you gotta remember, like Andrade wrestled so much in AAA and CMLL as his La Sombra gimmick. And when they brought him in as as Andrade Cien Almas, it was like he was great, won the NXT championship, had some great matches, and he went on the main card, and they was like he had some success, but it was just the same kind of thing, Someone came up from NXT and they just buried him.
Yeah, and what's crazy is actually what happened to him on the main roster in Raw, that was nothing compared to his AEW run. I mean, this man, they literally brought this man over, and this man basically wrestled on YouTube. Most of the time, he didn't wrestle on TV, he wrestled on YouTube.
Yeah, it pisses me off beyond belief. Like right now, they're giving more screen time for Roosh, than they are for Andrade. Like Andrade's wrestling right now on Dark, which again, like he says, is on YouTube. The YouTube like dark shows for AEW. He's barely like I think he showed up on the pay-per-view, didn't like a backstage vignette or something real quick and said like 5 words and that was it or something. And it's like, what are you doing? So yeah, their little exchange on Twitter was very funny because basically Sammy Guevara was like, this and that, this and that, and bad words, and then why don't you just go back to WWE, because you want to, and all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
it was funny.
I guarantee you, if he showed up at AEW, if he showed up at WWE tomorrow, like he would definitely be wrestling mid card somewhere in the middle of that card, and he would come in and tear the house down.
Oh yeah, I can already see with great matches. I could see him with Kevin Owens. I could see him even with Austin Theory. I know he is getting a lot of heat now, but he is taking it in stride and doing pretty good now, especially with the return of Johnny Gargano and a lot of the work that they're doing together and what he's doing with the Alpha Academy, which by the way, sleeper tag team right now in WWE, Alpha Academy. You gotta shoosh everyone away. Like Otis, heel, great. At least they're letting him grow his beard back, as you can see. He doesn't look like a big man baby.
That's basically what they're doing with Otis. They basically just he's basically the muscle, and even though he could talk himself, a little bit, but he's the muscle, and what's the name is the mouthpiece.
Yeah, Chad Gable. Yeah,
Gable's the mouthpiece. So they work very well together.
And you mean what was his name? He went by Swaggy G or something, or oh my gosh, what the heck was that about? I don't even know.
That was crazy. Apparently, that was his idea.
Yeah, I remember. I get it. I read that, but it's almost like it's a bad idea. You tell somebody, and then they say yes because they just want you to fail. You know what I'm saying? That's how I took it.
Or McMahon was, because his mind says back in the 80s, he just thought it would be, in his mind, he just think it'd be funny for him to do it.
God damn. That'd be extremely funny to watch. Make it happen.
Yep. But now, they're killing it. And, it's like, as soon as you hear shush, everybody, the crowd gets excited. They got the crowd's attention. Yep. And, Triple H is listening, so.
Yeah. So I had to bring that up because it just happened and it just made me laugh so much seeing it. And so we'll see. I mean, if Andrade, comes back, that'd be great. I would love to see it. So, and also, he reunites with his wife. Charlotte's been off TV, but she's, she'll be coming back eventually. So, so that'd be cool to see that. But
speaking of returns.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say, so what's going on with Mr. Wyatt?
Well, that's actually what kind of moving into right now. The mystery of the White Rabbit. Yes, the White Rabbit. And WWE has been doing a great job. We talked a little bit last week about it with this cryptic clues using social media on TV for this White Rabbit. And people, the internet detectives, have done such a good job breaking down
everything, all these like little bits and pieces of stuff. And for example, they played another zip code number that was a zip code to a town, and the town has Wyndham, like whatever, which is again Bray Wyatt's first name.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all this stuff is coming to a head, and most likely we're going to get an answer at Extreme Rules. I still think it's going to not be someone in person. It's going to be on vignette on the Titantron of who it is. Yes, if I was a betting man, which typically I can be, Bray Wyatt makes the most sense. But the outside chance that it could be possibly maybe Aleister Black or Malachi Black and AEW. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with him. He put this video saying that he's just taking time off from AEW. He's not gone, but the one White Rabbit promo, the metadata showed that the song, the first couple lines of lyrics was in the metadata for the picture for the video, and it was Malachi Black's theme song in WWE. So it's like, well, wouldn't you think they would have Bray Wyatt's theme, not another wrestler with a very eerie persona and everything? Well, all his video he did online could have been a work. Possibly it could have been like to throw you off the track. I don't know.
Or
again, that's the
or find some legal loophole to get out of AEW. Yep. But my questioning is, because I remember when they said took time off, I know he did take time off because I know that it was something about like he couldn't. They said he was leaving, like he couldn't directly join WWE. And I know WWE back in the day, you said, what was it, a 90-day clause? Like you can't go nowhere?
Traditionally 90 days, yeah.
So I wonder with AEW, like, say if you leave, do they have a time limit as far as like how long before you can wrestle somewhere else? Well, basically wrestle WWE because they don't care if you wrestle somebody somewhere else as long as it's not WWE.
Yeah, so, I would assume they have to have some kind of clauses in their contract. I assume that, but because of all the signings they've been doing, some of them they might negotiate to not have that in their clause. Like, if you're signing a big name wrestler and they say, well, no, I don't want this clause. You having me there is good enough, and if I want to leave, I can leave, but I don't know. I would assume there is some kind of clause there, but that's why I said it's an outside chance of him being there. But I might go for the dark horse choice. And that is the return of the bunny with Adam Rose.
Let's go!
Let's go, Marty. We got it.
And then all the Rosebuds is all the people that Vince McMahon buried that came from NXT to
oh my gosh. Please. Or even better. We have Bad Bunny coming back.
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
Just give me another Canadian Destroyer, Papa Bunny, and I'm good to go.
You want to talk about nuclear heat? Nuclear heat. That's what it would be. It would totally be. It'd be. Yep. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so with all this coming to a head, I do believe it's going to be Bray Wyatt. Now it'll be Bray Wyatt, not as the Fiend. I don't believe the Fiend will come back. It'll be a hybrid type character between his Eater of Worlds gimmick and the Fiend, most likely. I mean, like I see it more so as he'll come out with a mask, but he takes the mask off. It's more of like how Big Van Vader had his big helmet. He came out, but he didn't wrestle with it, and other, something like that.
Or like Kane when he came back. He came back with the, let's say, as I call it, he came back with the welding helmet.
Yes, a lot of people don't. Yeah, see, obscure, but yeah, that randomly he came out
just to get buried by John Cena 2 weeks later.
Yes, yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I could see something like that happen. But the second he comes back, man, you're talking about the pop, and how happy people are going to be seeing that, and that's something right there where the one thing I don't want to happen is he does not need a title. He doesn't need the title at all. When Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship, I was very happy. He won that title. He deserved it at the time. And
they did the weirdest booking by having him face, Randy Orton, his former protege, at WrestleMania, and then Randy Orton won, like clean. It was like, okay, what was the point of that? I loved it because it was like the champ that carried the lamp,
Yep. The champ that carried the lamp.
Yep. And it was all, but he comes back now. He doesn't need a belt. He's so over. That's why when the Fiend character won the championship, I was like, but he didn't have to.
Yeah.
They just want to make the custom Fiend belt to sell.
Oh, yeah, Fiend belt.
And
I feel like definitely the Eater of Worlds version of Bray Wyatt, I didn't mind seeing him with a belt because the Wyatt family version, obviously, he didn't need no type. None of them really needed any type of gold to get over. The Fiend obviously didn't need gold. The Eater of the Worlds, actually, he was kind of a hybrid between those two in general.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And what's crazy is until he won the tag team titles with Randy Orton, he had never won a belt in WWE. So, because, again, he didn't have to. He didn't need he was so good on his promos because he was able to write them. One of the only wrestlers that was able to do that. And surprisingly, they were good promos. Who would have thought?
Well, if he comes back now, I'd like to see him. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back as just the Eater of Worlds.
Yeah.
Sometimes like with a little bit of twist of the Fiend, but not too much. Not too much where he based. I don't want it to be like a Finn Balor where he gets to the point where he has to like transform into another being. So
you're saying no red lights on the entire match.
Just give me blue lights instead.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It felt like I was playing a Virtual Boy or something watching this match when they had all the red lights on.
Because I remember the complaints from people. Like, I was a guy I used to work with at my job, and he was telling me because I guess his eyes are sensitive to the red like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it got to the point where when everything hit red, he had to get up and leave out of the show for a minute because of the migraine headaches.
Now, was he actually at the show?
Yeah.
Or was? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was at a SmackDown, and the Fiend came out. Everything turned red. And he said after about a minute or so, he had to like get up and kind of go out in the lobby because like he was getting headaches.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, that's like, I get it for an entrance, fine, but then turn it back, or do what they would do in some matches where they would turn the lights down on the audience to make it look more like the audience isn't there.
Yeah.
They did that in the reboot of the ECW, and I know it wasn't that good. The Extreme Championship Wrestling reboots. They would lower the lights down in the crowd to make it look like you're in a smaller venue.
Yep.
And that was a good idea for a big arena because, obviously, a smaller place would work better for like ECW and those smaller indie shows like that. But that would have been a good idea. If we red, then turn that on, low lights there, but not red the whole time. I mean, they already made the Hell in a Cell cage bright red now, which is ridiculous, so I don't know. That's just me on that. Going back to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is dumb. Just
Well, I mean, they invested so much red in that.
I know. They're like, we spent so much money on the red paint.
So I mean, to get their money's worth, they probably got to do it for a couple more years.
Oh my gosh! And speaking about, I know because it's going with Bray Wyatt, but when you have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell means that you can do whatever you want, and there's no rules. There's a pin, whatever, it's over, and that's exactly what happened. When Shawn Michaels was in the match and whatnot, I believe Steve Austin was in it, and he got drugged down under the ring or whatnot.
Yep.
So, but the match still went on. It wasn't like I was off. The Fiend fights with Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell, and that one randomly he does like how many curb stomps? I mean, it got to the point it was so ludicrous how many he did. And then he just covers him with chairs and beats him, and then the match just ends. I'm like, but no, that's not how it works. Like
all Seth Rollins had to do when he covered all the chairs. Oh yeah, Seth Rollins. If I'm Seth Rollins, I would have like climbed on the chairs and just laid there. on the chairs itself, and then be like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
That's all he should have done.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. He should have just done that.
Thing. But it's actually good that it happened the way it did, because without that, we wouldn't have got the Seth Rollins we got now.
That's correct. And I know it seems like I'm really ragging on the damn Hell in a Cell, but they did the same thing again with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. They did the same thing. Where they made it where it was like no contest. It was like, what do you? Oh gosh, I don't even know. So that's why Hell in a Cell, how it's booked. No, I'm over it. Because now people just want to see someone fall off the top all the time.
Yep.
That's it. And the last one I saw that I actually liked was because I like Kevin Owens, was that feud Kevin Owens had, and Sami Zayn was interfered in the match and everything, and went through the table.
Yeah, that was Hell in a Cell.
Little Caesars.
Little Caesars. It was in the inaugural year, so this is once again, this is not a sponsor or anything. So,
not a sponsor.
But yeah, it's funny how this is the cup I decided to drink out of today.
Yeah, we didn't plan that. That's kind of funny.
Well, actually, maybe also too, most of my Lions cups are dirty and I haven't washed them yet.
Yeah, you have to keep scrubbing those and scrubbing them. Jesus. Oh man. Hey, I've got a bet for that. I said they're going to win 8 games. I don't think that's happening anymore.
Listen, Ricochet will be ultimate, undisputed AEW World Heavyweight WCW champion before they win 8 games this year. Okay, listen, let's just be real. Let's just be real with ourselves for a minute.
Oh my gosh, I can't. It's fine. We'll see. Outside chance. You're saying we still have a chance? We'll see. But with all that being said, with Bray Wyatt, you believe it's gonna be Bray Wyatt?
I mean, my money's on Bray Wyatt. Okay. I'm going down to Greek Town Casino. I'm putting 100 on Mr. Bray himself.
Now, do you think he'll actually be there, or it's gonna be like I said?
I'm seeing video? No, I see video. Like if I'm booking this, it's a video. You see, you'll see his face or something, and you just keep this going for a few weeks to to the point where the crowd is like just they ready to see him. Then he comes out and then does whatever they want to book him to do.
Yeah.
Right now, you just leave it as the vignettes. That way, because also with the vignettes, you keep teasing them. It's another reason to get people to watch your show every week.
Yep.
Because you want to see, like, is he going to come this week? Is he going to be here? Is this the week?
Yeah.
So
no, and I like them, and they're doing a really good job with them. So hats off to them at this point for that. Yeah. But kind of moving on now, we have. As we've been doing for the past few weeks, we do have to announce our Heat of the Week. So, for this week in wrestling, Sauce, who you got? Who you got for your?
I have a feeling that we probably would have picked the same person, but I'm going with Papa Noki. Oh, a man passed away. This is sometimes, some people, sometimes they don't get their flowers till they're gone. But, once again, with this, the contribution that he made to pro wrestling, brought us New Japan, brought us Strong Style. I'm pretty sure he's probably the father of Nakamura. We just don't know it yet. I'm pretty sure he gave birth to all those big stars over there.
Yes, and they came out as a full adult. Because he was just such a badass. He really was. So.
Yep, he got it done so extreme, and he was the once again pioneer of MMA, and and then like you said, the contribution he made to Ukes, which got us all these awesome wrestling games that that we still play, that many people probably still play to this day.
Yeah, it's insane. And that was something that I had no idea about, and it's crazy. It really is. So,
knowing that they have like that control ownership in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So yeah, so good food for thought on that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty like for me. It's that's my heat of the week. Shout out to him. Good thoughts with his with his family and loved ones or whatnot. But like I said, the contribution he made. As far as pro wrestling, hey, listen, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I have to, and you were correct. Antonio Inoki definitely is my heat of the week as well. He just again, as we mentioned in the opening. He revolutionized the Japanese style, strong style wrestling. He was actually trained by Karl Gotch, who I had brought up in our European wrestlers podcast, the originator of the like German suplex, and many other moves, trained Inoki.
Right.
And then he took that style to Japan and then transformed it with his own style to create the strong style that we know to this day. So and that's not he wrestled for many other and worked for many other smaller Japanese wrestling companies before he founded New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is again around from till this day, because hats off to him and everything he's done for wrestling, and again, rest in peace, brother. So you're in that big battle royal in the sky.
Like I said, it's just like, as another legend, another legend makes a transition after life. Ric Flair is still here.
Yep.
And I feel like this man's going to live. I'll live everybody he wrestled at this point.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. He's going to wrestle I think that's his goal in life. He wants to wrestle every person on the planet before he dies.
I tell you, one person. I'll tell you the most guaranteed person to send him on his way. I'll say, my man, Nick Gage. That'll be truly his last match.
Yeah, I think so. He pulls out any pizza cutters or something. But at that point, he just has to look at Ric Flair and then he immediately bleeds, So he's like, I didn't even touch you. I didn't. Yep. But yeah. I mean, he's going to keep kicking, and I guarantee you next week we're going to bring up another crazy thing that he said online. And by the end of this year, he's going to announce he's doing another match. You just wait and see, just
at this point, I'm not even surprised that you even said that. I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, I'm going to say we'll hear something before by the end of November. I'll even make, shorten it up a little bit.
I'll tell you what, book one more match, have him with Seth Rollins, have Rollins buckle bomb him in retirement.
Hey, it'd be good, perfect, because he did it to Sting. Sting got injured. Not good he got injured, of course. But then do it to Ric Flair. Sting and Ric Flair had their legendary feud and stuff. So there you go. Seth Rollins, we love you and great. Just get rid of the buckle bomb. Please don't do it. Please don't do it anymore. Just don't. But I'll tell you one other thing, since we're kind of winding down here for the show, I did want to let people know that this weekend is my bachelor party. And my brother here, Sauce, will be joining me for the party. And we're going to have a good time having adult beverages, eating food, and being merry and having fun, you know. But yes, I actually get married in November 11th. So time's ticking right away, and it's gonna be a good show. So, and it's gonna be a good time. But
oh man, imagine Holly's reaction. Imagine your fiance's reaction if we did a live podcast.
Oh my gosh!
Reception while we just all sitting there at that big table.
At the table.
We just got out and we just started a podcast.
I'm like, hey guys, how's it going?
Just look up like my friends. Just have so many drunk people like coming up behind us, just saying belligerent
what's
things.
going on? Oh gosh, and that'd be the quickest marriage ever because I probably would get the marriage license. She'd just rip it up.
Oh yeah, I say you get buckle bombed in divorce
through the head table.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, so it's all good. But I'm very excited. So it's gonna be a good time. Nervous, but a good time.
Oh yeah, let's go. Yeah, oh yeah. I was like, the only thing that make it better is if we can figure out how to get Sheamus and the Brawling Bruce to show up and send you off.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Let's tell listen, they're not here for you. They're here for me.
Oh my gosh! Please, I'll make it happen. I'll write on his Twitter like, please come on, please. Oh boy, but we had another good week this week. Had a lot to talk about, and hopefully we have a good preview for this show. That's actually, looks like a pretty good show to watch. So I'm excited. I know Sauce is pretty excited as well. So hopefully it turns out to be a good show.
Yeah.
And just as a little preview for next week, we're going to be going over obviously Extreme Rules results and such. But then we're also going to talk about, because on Monday Night Raw, season premiere of Raw, they're doing the 25th anniversary of D-Generation X, which makes both of us feel old. That's all I got to say.
Old as hell.
Oh, so, I'm excited to see that. We're still taking bets to see if maybe a video package with Billy Gunn is there. I would love personally to see that. It might not happen, but I would love to see it because I feel like it just sucks not having them there and Road Dogg being there. So,
well, I think Road Dogg's going to be there.
Well, no, Road Dogg. That's what I'm saying. Road Dogg being there and not Billy Gunn in any aspect.
I think it'd be a video package. But once again, this is the guy who said we got 2 words for you.
Yep.
So, well, yeah, I definitely, I would like to see, video package or even a Skype or a little quick Skype, and and you just keep moving.
Yeah.
And then 10 years from now, we have the 25th anniversary of Evolution, and what's left of Ric Flair's corpse will be dragged down by the ring, and he'll want to probably try to wrestle somebody in. So.
Yep. He'll be like, "Here we go. Hey, we got you. Come on."
It'd be like a Weekend at Bernie's match.
Please make it happen. Book it. Book it. But so yeah, that's just a little preview for next week, and I hope all you guys had fun with us again. 2 Michigan boys, they love talking about wrestling and shooting it with you guys. So I hope you had an extremely good night. Listening to us rambling on. Sauce, did you have anything else?
No, just looking forward to hanging out with some good boys this weekend at this soiree. And
Yes.
I'll probably be watching part of Extreme Rules on a yacht.
Yep.
So let's say we're going to figure out how the cell phone reception works on that. And yeah, I'll say and definitely looking forward to it. Like I was torn because it's supposed to be a good Sunday night football game going on that night, but because I'll say because the podcast is strong. I say, we definitely wrestling over the foosball for Sunday. So,
oh, absolutely, for sure.
I just need some good cell phone signal while I'm partying on the yacht.
Partying. Oh yeah, that sounds like a plan there.
It's crazy. I'm gonna be at a bachelor party Saturday, then be on a boat the next day. It's gonna be crazy.
Well, you know what I'm doing? I'm going with Andy, our friend Andy, to the Lions game. Not the game, but we're going to a viewing party because he's a season ticket holder. He's like, "Hey, you want to come?" I'm like, "Andy, I'm gonna be pretty hungover. I'm just gonna be flat out say it." But he said, "Well, there's free food or all this stuff." I said, "Okay, maybe that'll sober me up a little bit. So let's go." So I'm doing that Sunday. Well, wherever that's at. I think it's downtown or something. I'm not sure where that's at actually, but
so it's gonna be a good time though, because like I said, between the chorus line and the Jaegers, I say those alcohol beverages definitely gonna buckle bomb you into a good night. So it's definitely it's gonna buckle bomb you into a hangover for sure. So
yes, an extreme hangover, or maybe not. We'll see. I'll make sure to drink more water. But yeah, the motto for night. Drink a lot of water if you're drinking alcohol.
Yeah, APA, and then water doesn't exist.
Oh boy. But with that being said, guys, again, thank you for guys watching and everything. And we always love all the comments, and whenever you guys talk with us, we love the chit chat. So we will we're gonna call it a night for tonight. We'll catch you next week, and you guys have a good night.
Hey, once again, you guys be safe out there. Hey, and y'all be good, okay?